Good evening, everyone, and welcome to probably the craziest episode of Ask Leah that I've had to present. In addition to children screaming in the background, it's just a crazy time, and we all know that, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but I'm going to get stuck into a question that has been asked tonight, and it's a really important question. I do feel like there is a risk. I've been tagged multiple times today in that old BBC footage of the guy doing the report when his kids scuttled in the background and then his wife dragging them out. My darling husband isn't home right now, and the three kids I've just left in the bath. I've been reading them Harry Potter and left them in the bath with strict instructions to get themselves sorted and not come in. But look, this is probably going to be the reality for parents like me who will be working from home, at least in the school holidays, but probably for a prolonged period after that. The whole parenting, work-life integration, there's been a lot of us advocating it for a long time, but gee, it's going to come into its own. So if kids pop up, embrace it, folks. Now, tonight's question, very topical with what's going on in the world at the moment. It's a great one. It's one I'm actually still continuing. It's been a big hit to my business, as you can imagine, a big hit to so many, so I'm certainly not alone there with face-to-face work cancelled. But I still do online coaching. I'm even doing online training, and I've got to say, if ever there's a time that we needed the skills to be able to communicate under pressure and self-manage at times of stress, it's now. So, question tonight came in from the fabulous Sally, and it's around this whole social distancing thing that we are now going to have to do. And Sally said, social distancing will see a lot of our communication be reduced to email or group video conferencing. So we'll miss the personal or incidental conversations that add a sense of inclusion and warmth, particularly in the workplace, but for some people who aren't in the workplace, in broader life as well. So her question is, how do we stay connected on a personal level if we are isolated, either working from home or in self-isolation and being restricted to our home? Great question, and one I'm thrilled to answer. I do have experience in this whole working remotely thing. You see, I've had either a virtual assistant or a virtual business manager for the last 3 years. Shout out to the fabulous Kate, who was my business manager based on the Gold Coast for about 18 months. And for the last 2 years, I've actually had an assistant who's been based in the Philippines, and she will be watching this on replay when she gets to work tomorrow. So shout out to the fabulous Ephriel. Ephriel went on mat leave, maternity leave last year, and I had Jen fill in her place. But Ephriel came back to me at the start of this year. I do want to shout out to her because she does the most incredible job for my business. She works for me 20 hours a week, and she's been doing it really tough lately as well. So she's based in the Philippines. She's a mum of 4 gorgeous kids. Like I said, she is the biggest gun of an employee you could ask for. So we obviously have never met face to face. But we catch up every day, and I feel so close and connected to her, even though we are not physically together. So I want to share some of the tips that I've used to create that bond with her that I know a lot of organizations will be looking for now that they're going online as well. So the first tip, and Sally alluded to it in her question, is don't rely on email or voice phone calls. This is where video conferencing comes into its own. Now, I use for my business, I obviously use Facebook Live as I'm using right now. I also use Skype and I use Zoom. Zoom is my preferred platform. It is so super easy, folks. You can download it onto your phone. It's free. You don't need the business version. I've just upgraded because I'm hoping to be doing some training for teams who are all spread out and working from home. And don't worry, you will still get my magic crazy hand gestures, even if it is over a screen. But that's the key. You need to be able to see people. And if you're a leader in an organization, this is crucial, because at times of stress and pressure, it's really easy for us to want to withdraw into ourselves. And if we're hiding behind a keyboard or a phone, it is a lot easier to say, yeah, I'm fine, when we're really not. When we get video, we get tone even more, but more importantly, we get body language, and body language is the bulk of communication. So what I really urge everyone to be doing is to be using this technology to their advantage. And as I worked with a client today who I did an online coaching session with, he's a leader for a government agency that's just started doing 50% of the workforce at home, 50% at work, and then they're going to flip over. What I said to him was, don't just use video conferencing for set meetings, okay? What we want to set up is daily, if you can, a daily huddle, okay? And this doesn't have to be time consuming, but a daily huddle where you check in either with your whole team, it really depends on the size of your team, with your entire team, or one-on-one. If you've got a smaller team, I really encourage you to do it one-on-one as well. Do both if you can. A daily huddle. And this huddle isn't just about the hard and fast meetings. It is about connection. How are you doing? Because essentially our conversations at the moment for those working from home really need to be around three things. It's the what work needs to be done. Sure, talk about that. The what's going on for your team or your organization, but then it needs to be the I, and it needs to be checking in with each other. How are you going? Because people's mental health, and I speak about this so much in my sessions, people's mental health is potentially really at risk right now and for the months ahead. So we need to be having these touchstones. So with Ephriel, like I said, she works 5 days a week for me, 4 hours a day, and I'm often off delivering training and different things like that. But whenever I am in the office or working from home, or even just out and about on my phone, I will Skype or Zoom with her, even if it's just for 5 minutes, to say, hi, how are you going? How are you tracking? At the moment, she hasn't been able to get home to her children every night because things have been locked down in Cebu, in the city that she's in the Philippines. It is such a stressful time for everyone. So that regular touchstone is important. Now, on a personal level, there are some awesome Facebook groups out there, and you're on Facebook now, so I know you use it. You've got to be really careful at the moment with what social media you pay too much attention to. But there are some great ones, and I know they're live at the same time as me now. So if you're watching me, you'll be missing it, but I tell you to sign up to this group. For those of you who follow Women in Gippsland and who were at the event last week, Jamila Rizvi, the fantastic Jamila Rizvi, and Claire Bowditch, two of my favourite Australians, they have an organisation that I actually had tickets to go and see, which is Tea with Jam and Claire, and they do these awesome events. And I had tickets to the one that they are doing with Julia Gillard. And they have set up a Facebook group called Quarantine with Jam and Claire. And they're even doing things like right now, they're folding washing. But they've set up a Facebook Live and people are joining in and they're folding washing. The fabulous Em Rusciano, another Australian entertainer. And it's these people, it's people in the arts who are doing it the most tough at the moment. And well, not the most tough, that, everyone's doing it bloody tough, but they are really being hit hard. On Friday night, Em Rusciano is bringing back her awesome wine time, okay, where she will literally jump on, have a wine, encourage people to join. Use this technology. I've reached out to some of my friends and colleagues over the last couple of days saying, you know what, let's catch up for virtual coffee, or let's catch up for virtual wine time. Now, a lot of us who work in regional Australia, we are already using this technology. I know for a lot of the bigger organisations where you're face-to-face all the time, it's really new. But I encourage you to reach out to people like me, to people who are in small businesses who have been doing this for a really long time, really effectively. Reach out to us and ask us what works. You know, so I'm really looking forward to having coffee dates where I will make my coffee and sit here and drink my coffee. You can make yours. We can have a chat. I can still coach. We can still talk, whether it's business or just life in general. We can do this, folks. So the key is not just to see it about work. And again, if you are a leader, now is the time. If you've got people working from home, it's not about micromanaging. It's not about checking in. And the conversation I had with the person I coached today, because the question was about, how do we know that people are really working if they're working from home? Here's the thing. It's not about the hours they work. It's about the work that they do. Now, the most progressive companies have been onto this for years, right? That if you are a high performer and you are pumping out the work, mate, if you can do that in 4 hours, more power to you. I would prefer a high performer who can pump out their work effectively and then be done for the day than the person who's sitting at their computer for 8 hours and gets nothing done, right? So focus on the output, but do set up that time to touch base. So Sally, I encourage you to set up a time each day or every second day with those that you're working with for, okay, team huddle is at this time on these days. Or you might say between 9 and 10, I'm going to call my 4 or 5 direct reports, however many it is. I'm going to call you during that time to touch base for the day. Do it on video, use it to your advantage, folks, and we are all in this together. So use it, be warm. You can still carry on like a lunatic like I do. It's scary and I get it. Believe me, I get it. My business has taken a massive hit, but we are so much better when we band together. Okay, so we can do this regardless of what this is, and we don't really know yet. We can do it. And not just for my business, because, you know, it's not about that and I will be fine. But I do encourage you. I get that people are scared and they're panicking. And please don't go out and hoard buy. This is not about that though. You know, thankfully, most of my clients have postponed. But one of the things people aren't realizing is that you can still use technology really effectively. You know, the conversation I've had with a couple of organizations in the last 2 days, you know, one of the workshops I run is called Calm the Farm, Self-Management at Times of Stress. And I've said to them, you know what, if all your people are at home, working from home, and you're looking for things for them to do, why don't we do a 2-hour training / Q&A session where I'm in on your group video call, having a chat, giving you some strategies, and you can ask questions and we can do it that way. So there's still so much that can be done. If you're new to video conferencing, please reach out, ask for some tips. There's some really great ones. There's great platforms out there, great ways to do this, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, folks. So thank you for watching tonight. If you've got a question, please do ask. Unfortunately, my regular radio gig, which is on a Thursday morning, has been cancelled due to coronavirus as well. They're not having local people in the station. So I'm actually looking at possibly doing a few more lives through the week, or even setting up some of those group coffee chat times through Zoom, which I'll publicize, and they'll be free. Just if people are doing it tough or have questions about how to communicate, if you want to be part of a community, there is community out there and we can do this. So again, have a fab night. kids haven't interrupted, don't worry. I'm sure they will one soon to provide you the entertainment that we need. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. And please be kind to yourself and others. Cheers, folks. Have a good one.